Hi guys. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. So, this evening we are going to be talking about how to start using video like this one to promote your business. We've had a lot of questions in this group about using Instagram Live or Facebook Live or any of those other kinds of live content to promote your business, as well as using video content kind of as a whole. So I wanted to tackle that for y'all tonight. And I really just want to dive in and make sure I can answer your questions and go over any concerns or issues that you have with doing this kind of content for your business. So as you guys stream in, say hi, say where you're from, pop off with what are you struggling with? Or are you using video to promote your business right now? Is this something that is easy for you? What are you struggling with? Just let us know. Pop in the comments, say, I am using video content right now and it's great. I'm just looking for tips and pointers. Or if you've never done it before, share that. Let us know where you're at so that we can provide the right kind of information for you. So as you guys do that, pop in, say how you're doing. Hi, Louisa. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Eva. Hi, guys. So in the comments, let us know, are you using video content to promote your business? If not, why? What's holding you back? And if you are, what is something that you really want to improve or work on? Hi, Gretchen. Hi, Melissa. Forever struggling with marketing, looking to figure out how to do this without being annoying. I can't promise that you won't be annoying. I'm sure plenty of people find me annoying. However, people who are my target market won't find me annoying, right? In fact, I've had plenty of people in live content that I have done in the past or video content that I've done in the past of people who are outside of my normal active audience make comments about me being annoying or about my teeth or my appearance or the color of my hair or whatever. So that does happen. Ava says she doesn't really feel confident, and I totally get that. So as you guys are popping off and streaming in and getting comfy, I want to talk a little bit about my background with video, because it's pretty painful. If you look back in Modern Soap Making's history about 5 years ago, if you're a member of the resource library, the very first webinar I ever did was about social good in your business and how you can create social good with your business through a charity model of some kind. And this was way back when I gave away Gratitude Soapery the first time, years and years ago. And the thing that's important about this here is a lot of people, when they meet me in person for the first time, think that I am very extroverted, very outgoing, that I am definitely a people person and I like talking to people, and that cannot be further from the truth. I have diagnosed social anxiety. I have bipolar. Speaking in public, especially at conferences and teaching in person, makes me want to hurl. And doing video like this also used to make me want to hurl. That kind of stuff was very scary for me and very difficult, not just from a perspective of having low confidence or not feeling comfortable in myself, especially because, like I said, people make commentary about what I look like, about my teeth, about my hair, about me not being pretty or being pretty or whatever. People make all kinds of weird comments about what you look like on social media because they don't think about you as a person. You're just an image on a screen. And that was something that was really scary for me. And then when you added the social anxiety on top of it, and then dealing with the weird paradigm of literally I'm sitting in my studio right now in a room all by myself, talking like I'm talking to a bunch of people because I am, but you can't see them and you don't know what they think or what they look like or whether they're paying attention or what's going on. So that is a huge, huge initial hurdle that I personally very strongly understand and identify with. And my only advice that I can really give you over it is to just do it and to continue to do it and to continue to do it, because every time you get better and better and better. So if you go back to our initial Facebook Lives, the first time I did this, I would sit here and just kind of be like, I don't know what to say because I don't know whether or not people are watching. So I would kind of wait for people to be watching instead of like actually saying something. So what happens when you do that is people come back on the recordings later and have to sit through 5 minutes of you like making up filler and time of not talking because you were waiting for other people. So it's really just about knowing like what you want to talk about and getting in there and doing it and going for it. And so that way, even if no one shows up, you still have video content that you're promoting and pushing out and doing what you intended to do, because you can take this later and reuse it. So for instance, this video right here, we can take this and we can put this in the resource library, or we can put this on our YouTube channel, or we could send this out in an email newsletter and be like, here are some tips about using video to promote your business. Versus if I sat here going, let me wait for people who are here, let me wait for people to talk to me, let me like struggle around through this, the recording would be very uncomfortable to watch, right? So the only big advice I can really give about getting over that initial confidence issue and really like busting your comfort zone is to just try it. To plan out what you're going to say, you can get on there, bust it out even if no one shows up, and then just keep practicing and keep doing it. So one of my friends, what she did is she made a goal to go on Instagram Live for 1 minute every day for a month. She did it on her personal account. So it was people who were probably sitting here like, what are you doing? And she did say for the first couple of days, she literally would like turn on Instagram Live and stare at the screen and like start to talk and then feel weird. And then the minute would be up and she could shut it down and it was over with. But what that did is it made it so that she could eventually get over that feeling of, like I said, it's very weird to be in a room by yourself, or even when you're around other people, and to be talking to a device, whether that's your phone or your computer or whatever, and not have anyone here and not have anyone to look at. Especially if you have social anxiety like I did. One of the ways I got over my fear of public speaking was to look around at the people in the audience and like see how they were reacting, engaging their reaction, and being able to like see if they were interested in what I was saying, or if they thought it was funny, or if they were engaged. And you can't do that with live content. Like, I can't see anyone. I can see like comment scrolling, but you can't really stop to read them unless like you have the time. You can see how many people are watching, but sometimes that just freaks you out more, especially if you're focusing on how many it is versus how many comments there are, because then you're like, there's people here, but they're not saying anything. So it's really just not thinking about the people that are on the other end and just pretending that they're there and they're very interested. And so you just get to talk about whatever it is you're going to talk about. You just assume that they're just glued to their screens, love what you're saying, cheering you on, super excited. And that makes it, to me, easier. Like, I actually find this much easier now than I do speaking at a conference or in a live class or whatever. Because here I get to pretend, no matter what the actual reaction is, that people love it. And I get to teach like people are loving it. And I get to talk and explain and share my information and knowledge, already assuming that everyone who is on the other end is digging it and loves it. Versus in person, that's not always the case, and it's very obvious. So that is like my first major tip to get over any kind of anxiety you have or any confidence issues, is to practice, to do it, and then just sit here and always convince yourself that people are watching and they love what you have to say. And if you need a confidence boost in that regard, one thing that I like to really make sure that soap makers know is, like, for me, You guys look to me as having expertise in a certain area, whether that's soap making or business or marketing or branding or whatever it is. Each one of you looks at me as having a certain amount of expertise in that area. So when you look at yourselves, you may not see that expertise in yourself. What I want you to keep in mind is that your customers do. Your audience does. Like, they don't know who the hell I am. They could give no care in the world as to who I am or what expertise I have. What they want to know and what they want to learn from and who they want to hear from is you. You're the one who has that expertise and knowledge and information and personality that they want to enjoy. So when you don't do video content and you hold yourself back because you're scared and you don't have that confidence, you're holding yourself back from making those connections with your customers, and your customers are looking for you to do that. Like, think about the difference that it made, let's say, here right now. If you think about the first time you came across Modern Soap Making, whether that is the Facebook group, whether that is a blog article, whether that's our website, whether that's a newsletter, wherever it was that you found me first, I want you to think about, if that was a written content, how it felt the first time you got to see video content. Or the first time that you got to see me Facebook Live, if this is your first Facebook Live. How has your feelings towards me or my brand changed because you got the opportunity to talk to me in person, to get to know me, to see the funny faces that I make, to see my hand-waving hand gestures that I can't control, to listen to my voice, to see that I really talk the way that I write, or that I use the language that I use to write. Or yes, I actually have purple hair. I'm trying to think of all the ways that people have been like, oh, you do have, or you are this, or whatever. And that's because they made that bridge of being able to see me in video content that they would not have been able to see me do if I never did it. So it really solidifies the opportunity for your brand to make an impact on people. And they really crave to have that impact from you, of really seeing who you are and really understanding, you know, what is going on behind the brand, who it is, even if it's like a 1-minute video, like I said. Even if it's you pop your phone up while you're cutting soap just to share what it looks like. Or you start off by popping in and showing off. Like, for instance, we just debuted our YouTube video of me making this soap. We made 25 pounds of this soap on Instagram Live, and a lot of people missed it. So we captured the recording, put it all together, and put it on YouTube. So if you have never seen 25 pounds of soap being made at once, they all look like this gorgeous bar right here, you can go check that on YouTube. All right? See how easy that was? It was just a 30-second promo of being like, yo, check out this piece of content about this thing that I made. And you guys can do that. There is nothing stopping you from propping your phone up and cutting some soap and going, you know, check this out. Go, if you like this, it smells so good. It smells like rosemary mint. It's got shimmer on top. I love that so much. You go check this out on my website. Here's the link, right? Easy, so easy. So I want you guys to make a goal of 1 minute on Instagram Live, Facebook Live, wherever, even if it's on your personal profile, to just do it and experience it. It's nice to be able to do it on your personal profile where no one is watching, because you have to learn the controls and how things work. I have gotten to a point where I just bumble along. So last time I was live, I couldn't figure out how to use the pull feature. So I messed with it, right? All right, so next that is what I have to say about anxiety and confidence. That's the most that I can give, is my personal experience, and say this is what worked for me, is really like powering through and putting yourself out there and trying it. And if I can do it, you can do it. If someone with a diagnosed disorder about being in front of and talking to people can do this, you can do this. Okay? So number 2 that we have had a lot of questions about in the past is necessary, like, equipment and stuff that you would need. So most people these days have a smartphone, right? So your smartphone camera is actually amazing. Like it's really, really good for live content. So if you have a smartphone, use it. In talking about your smartphone, the back camera is always way, way better quality than your front camera. So I know that means that you can't see what is happening on the screen, but if you're going to do like short Johnson content, or if you want to record content and then edit it and put it together later instead of doing live, use the back camera. If you're going to do live, you kind of have to do the front because you have to be able to see what's going on, unless you have another phone or a laptop nearby where you can watch that, which is what I often do. What you'll often see me doing is I'll have my smartphone and then I will have my laptop. Right now I am on my laptop. Sometimes I will also have my husband's phone. I'll use a tablet. I will use all kinds of other devices to kind of be able to multi-manage. In the past, I've also done like Instagram Live and Facebook Live at the same time using 2 different devices. But a smartphone, if you've got one, use it. The camera on it's great. Like I said, your back camera is always better. Before you use your smartphone, because we all carry them around as we do in our pockets and in our purses and wherever else, the camera lenses get dirty. So you want to make sure that you clean those before you go live. A microfiber cloth is best, but you can use like a t-shirt or anything else, right? And then a lot of people will use selfie sticks with cell phones. I personally use this little gadget right here. This is called a square jellyfish, and it is a smartphone tripod mount. And they make these in all kinds of ways. And so you guys know, I'm gonna edit the main post afterwards and list like links to all of the stuff that I talk about so you can find it very easily. So don't worry about trying to like scramble and write stuff down. I'll post it. But this is a tripod mount, and the size of it will fit a phone up to this wide. So every time I've changed phones, this has still fit. So it's been a very good investment. So this fits on your phone by stretching it across here. And then it can go on a tripod. So if you have a tripod, this is the part that mounts to the camera usually, but it will mount to the square jellyfish in this tripod mount spot right here. So I use my regular tripod for my DSLR, and then this mount to mount my phone on the tripod. They also make a tripod for this if you want something that just sits on your table. They also have ones that are like an octopus tripod that like they wrap around poles and stuff. I have never found a use for one of those, but lots of people love them. But this is literally my favorite gadget in the entire world, because even if I just put this on my phone and hold it, it frees up my hand from being in the screen in the viewport of the live video. Instead of when you're holding it, sometimes you'll put your finger over it or your hand will get in the way or whatever. So I love this thing. And they have so many different ones. So that's the first, like you need one of these. And I love them. But what if you don't want to use your smartphone? What if you want to use a laptop like I am right now? So most laptops these days, move all this so I don't drop it, right? Most laptops these days have a webcam pre-installed. And to be honest, most of them suck. Like you probably don't want to use it. If you don't have any money to invest in anything and you want to get started, which you should, then use the laptop camera. Just use it. It's fine. It's good enough because done is better than not, right? But if you want to get a webcam for your laptop, the one that I use, I can't show it to you because we're recording on it. Ooh, idea. Here. How's this for device inception? Haha. So it's a Logitech webcam. It has these little speakers on the side, also our microphone. They're not the most amazing in the world. I use a separate microphone. But the webcam itself, I think it's like $40 now and has amazing quality. Like if you compare this video next to my DSLR video, if I record both at the same time, you can't really tell them apart. So for being such a cheap webcam, it's great. And then when it comes to the audio on the webcam isn't too bad. On the laptop, it's really bad because when you're typing, it picks it up and then it sounds like thunk, 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 thunk. Not good. But I use a Blue Snowball, which I'm going to turn to show you, so it's going to make like the audio go weird. But this is my microphone. It has a little stand here and it adjusts to like go higher or shorter. And this is what I use for recording the audio. And the reason for that is because it is far superior sounding. Personally, because my content is very heavy on people being able to understand what I'm saying and to hear me, the microphone is way more important to me. Although this microphone is also relatively cheap in comparison. Versus for you, your content might be more visually focused. So maybe the camera quality is going to be better. What you choose and what you use is totally up to what your goal and purpose is of your content, right? And then last but not least, lighting. So a lot of people, when they use smartphones, will use ring lighting. I have never owned a ring light ever. And the reason for that is because I wear glasses. If you wear glasses and try to use a ring light, oftentimes, especially if you're like I am, where you talk, move your head around all crazy, the ring light creates like this really bright line of light reflections in your glasses, which can be very distracting for people. So that's where the lighting comes in. That's very important. And this has taken me several years to learn. If you go back and look at some of the older content, the lighting has the reflections in my glasses and it takes time to set that up. So for me, for lighting, I don't know if I'll be able to show you guys. Maybe, here, we'll try this. Do you see that? So it's an umbrella light on a stand, and I have two of them. There's one to either side of me, sideways, because if they're in front of you, they reflect off of your glasses. And that is never good. If you look at older content, you can see it, and it's distracting for people who watch. So if you wear glasses, remember that you want your lights to be to your side. See, if I turn all the way, you can kind of see the reflection. Now just imagine it's like white little balls reflecting off my glasses. Very distracting. So if you have your lighting to the side, it works best. If you don't wear glasses, this is also a very flattering angle for lighting because it creates less shadows, which is also why I like these lights versus the ring lights. Even though they have a diffuser on them, they can create pretty harsh shadows. But if that's the kind of content that is helpful for you and you like it, it could work for you just fine. So any kind of diffused light is great. That also means that natural light is fantastic, but not like go stand outside at noon fantastic, because then you have the light beaming straight down very harsh on your face, and it can be very hard to see your facial features and your expressions and what you look like and what you're saying. So if you're going to film outside, let's say you're popping on Instagram Live while you're at the post office, you want to dodge into the shade in a shady spot, like next to the building, and you've got a little shade. That is great lighting because it's very diffused, it's not direct, and it creates like a nice ambience instead of being very harsh, sharp lighting. The lighting in the early hours in the day and then closer to sunset are also very nice, softer lighting. But if you can stand somewhere where you are either by a window that has a white curtain so it diffuses the light, or you can stand in the shade, or somewhere where you have like the nice ambient lighting where you don't see shadows. Those are your most desirable for using natural light. When it comes to lighting as a whole, a lot of people have their personal preference of like, when you're taking product photos, if you already like natural light, then natural light is going to be your friend for doing live content, because it's the kind of lighting that you understand and you already know how to manipulate. Versus if you're like me, who has always done their product photography with studio lighting, then I much prefer synthetic lighting and knowing how to control it and how to use it. So whichever way you're most comfortable with, I am a firm believer that not one of them has like a better place. Like neither one of them is best. They're both great. You just have to use them appropriately. So like I said, with the synthetic lighting, it's not straight on. It's to the side and it's nice and soft and diffused. If it's natural light, it's in the shade where you're not getting like harsh shadows or direct sunlight or blinding yourself so you're squinting and look weird, any of that kind of stuff, right? Okay, so first was anxiety and confidence, and the only way to get over it is to just do it and go for it and try to think about the fact that people, whether they are watching or not, that you can tell are totally glued to their screen, loving every word that you say, and they're like right up in there, right? Let me get up. No, don't do that. But they are right up in there watching you, loving what you have to say, no matter whether or not the viewer says that or the comment says that. If you tell yourself that that is what is happening and that is what you believe is happening, it allows you to be your most authentic and happy and personable self. If you're worried about how many people are watching you or what they're thinking or what they're going to say, you're going to worry about that the whole time instead of making sure that you have your messaging. And then equipment, like I said, I will list off some of my favorite equipment in the post afterwards with links, but depending on what you want to use, whether it's your smartphone or your laptop, what you need is going to go there. And then lighting is like a huge, huge thing. And then last but not least, I forgot what I was going to say. Recording the content for later. Okay, so a lot of people don't know how to do like any kind of video editing. There are a lot of different options nowadays. What devices you use are really going to have a lot to do with that. Someone asked about like whether you can save content. So on Facebook Live, you can download the video. On Instagram Live, after you finish an Instagram Live, there is a button right away that you can save the content off of it. If you do not press that button before closing the window, you can't save it. So like make major notes, post-it notes, whatever. If it's something that you want to save, you have to hit that button before you close the window. Otherwise, it goes away. After 24 hours, it's bye. Now, do you guys remember when I made the rainbow soap? Before I made this one on Instagram Live, I made rainbow soap on Instagram Live. And I promised people that I would save the recording and edit it and upload it later. I forgot to save the recording. Like I said, on Instagram Live, you have to press that button at that time because if you close out of it, it goes away. So what I did is I put an app on my phone and then I did a screen recording of the live playing in my Instagram stories. So that way I could then save the video and edit it later. So if you screw up like I did, you can get a screen recording app, and I will also link that you can record the screen while the Instagram Live replays in your stories, and then you will have the file that you can edit. Of course, it has the overlay of like people leaving comments and stuff like that, but it's better than nothing, right? And then the other thing is you can take all those videos and you can edit them on your phone. I use Google Photos to trim and do some basic editing. I use a program called Camtasia to do my big editing. So any of my soap videos, I use Camtasia for. I used to use Adobe Premiere, which is way more advanced software for most people. So I will like link those different options. For most people, an app on your smartphone or like YouTube has its Creator Studio or something like that, where when you go to upload on YouTube, you can edit a video on there. those kind of pieces of software are the easiest usually, but there are so many options out there now that if you're not like super tech oriented, there's going to be something out there for you. So lots and lots of different things that you can use. Okay, I saw a question come through, and this is something I had made a mental note to address, but then forgot about. Instagram stories is another great way to practice like doing video content because they disappear after 24 hours. So if you have an Instagram account, you can practice recording video and putting it out there and really doing it. And then also being able to watch yourself and see what you're doing and knowing whether or not, like I said, I talk with my hands. They're all over the place. I also make very strange faces when I'm talking. It's something that I'm used to. Anyone who takes our classes where they watch video content of me talking will always talk about the funny faces that I make when they have the video pause or when it buffers or whatever. I find it very amusing. But I didn't realize that I talked with my hands as much as I do or that my face was as expressive as it is until I actually saw myself on video. And then it was just being comfortable with, this is how I am. So take it or leave it. And also being prepared for the comments about that. Like people will make comments about it. Like I said, we've gotten a lot of mean comments in the past about my teeth. Obviously, I have lived with them my whole life. I'm well aware what they look like. So that is something that for me personally can be hard to deal with, but it's also something that I'm prepared to deal with. And it usually comes from outside of my audience. So if you think about it from that perspective, if I tell you that someone who has an audience of thousands and thousands of people, most of the mean comments come from outside of the audience, those opinions don't matter, right? Like they're not the people that you're serving. They're not the people who are going to buy your stuff. They're not the people who really want to know what you have to say. So their opinions don't mean anything. So if you see a mean comment or something going on, then you just go, not my tribe, not my people. And you let it go and you let it kind of roll off your back. It takes practice. It really, really does. But if there's something that you are lacking confidence in or you have low self-esteem over or that you were worried about, like I said, for me, it was my teeth and my hair, then you can go into that knowing, if someone is going to ridicule you or make mean comments or focus on that, then they're not your people in the first place. So who cares? Okay. And then it is really nice to see what you do, how you say things. A lot of people have speech mannerisms that they don't realize that they have. For me personally, this actually ties to the teeth thing. I had my teeth partially fixed about 3 years ago. I think it was 3 years ago. And it was a lot of surgery and I had a lot of teeth pulled and I got dentures made that are partials. And I had to relearn how to speak with them. And I have a little bit of a lisp situation because of them. So it was watching myself on video, really listening for it and trying to adjust the way my mouth moves. And that's just a cognitive awareness kind of thing. And making sure that you're really watching for that. Another one for a lot of people is saying, like I just did. For me, when I'm talking and I want to affirm what I'm just saying in my head, instead of saying, I've trained myself to say right. And I'm sure you guys notice that because I say it quite frequently, but it comes across more conversational and interactive and involved instead of, every few minutes, right? So it's really listening for those like social cues that you leave yourself, the things that you say, the pauses that you take, the way you word things, and really being cognitively aware of what you're doing and trying to train yourself out of them. And then I'm trying to think of the last thing that one of the people who suggested we do this recommended was that when they're doing live content, they don't know where to look. I'm sure as you guys have noticed, when I'm on live or when I do video content, I look all over kind of the place. I will look directly into the camera because when you do that, people feel like you're looking directly at them. So it feels very personable and you're talking directly to them. But sometimes you need to look elsewhere. Like now, I need to look at the comments and I need to make sure that I'm still connected and that everything is still working fine. So it's making sure that you are positioned with the camera in a way that when you do that, it doesn't look like you're like, you know, you're not looking like way away. You want to try to position everything in a way that you can look back at the camera and make that eye contact again, but do it so in a natural way. I also have a tendency to like look up to the side when I'm thinking or when I'm speaking. So that also happens. And it's not something to be super concerned about. I think as long as you make an effort to make that eye contact just like when you're in person, then it works out just fine. Okay? So I'm going to see if you guys have any other concerns, comments, questions. So for a minute here, I'm going to go through looking through the chat, which means it's going to look like I'm looking not that far over, right here. And see what you guys have to say. If you have any questions for me about doing video content or Facebook Live or Instagram Live or recording video or editing video, pop it in the comments right now so that way I can make sure that I address it. Kathleen asks, what did you say you used the front camera for? So the front camera you want to use for lives if you are using your phone, because that way you can see the comments and make sure that you can interact with people. Like if I was on my phone right now and I needed to see the comments from you guys and I was recording off the back camera, I'd have to flip you guys around and you'd be staring at the wall over there, right? Not very comfortable. I mean, it's not like it's great to look at someone looking at the chat box, but it's better than looking at the wall. Lacey said, so any kind of light diffuser would be good. Yes. So as long as the light is diffused and not super harsh, it's great. I will link the specific stands that I have. They come in a set with a carrying case, which I have actually used on occasion. So that can be really helpful. Do I have a favorite tripod holder for my phone? So that's the square jellyfish. And we talked about that. I love this thing. So I literally bought this like 6 years ago. So the styles that they have more now are, they have a lot more options. But I bought this when they were running their Kickstarter. I love this thing. All right. All the previous chats I went through. Eva said we're not robots, right? So natural is good. Yes. On top of that, the more that you are yourself and authentic in who you are, the more people will connect with you. Like one of my huge things about video when I first started was I always wanted it to be perfect. I'm a perfectionist and I had to train myself in business as a whole, not just for video, that 80% is done and it's perfect and it's fine. That last 20% may feel like a lot to a perfectionist. For most people, the end result isn't that much different. So it's really doing the best you can with what you have and going with it. And learning that like you don't have to be perfect. And when you are, people think that's kind of weird. Don't you remember in grade school as a perfectionist about how people were always like teacher's pet and goody two shoes? Yeah. Lacey says, is there a certain length of video that is recommended so it's not too long and people lose interest? People lose interest in my content all the time because I do tend to run about a half an hour to an hour every time I do a Facebook Live or an Instagram Live or whatever. Some people will sit here for this whole time. Shout out to you guys, such troopers. But some people will just kind of pop in and mill out and do whatever. But that's because that's the kind of content that I create. And I also know that if people pop in and find that the conversation is relevant to them, but they just don't have time for it right now, they'll come back and they'll watch it later. So that's what the recording is good for. As long as your content is valuable to your customers or your audience, the length does not matter particularly all that much. You do have limits on certain platforms. Instagram Live is an hour. Let me tell you how I know that. I have the time limit and then it kicks you off. It's like counts down and says you're like going away and shuts you down. If you are planning on repurposing the content for something else, like YouTube, the ideal length for most channels is in between 10 to 20 minutes. Some soap videos, some people go longer, some go shorter. A good example is to go look at Holly at Missouri River Soap, another local soap artist. If you go look at her videos on her YouTube channel, she always does a short version and a long version. And you can see that both of them get watched. The kind of comments on both of them and the amount of engagement and interaction and the kind of people who watch them are different. So it's really about who your people are, how much time they have, but also like what platform, what kind of content you're doing, etc. IGTV, which if you guys have watched our Christmas and July series, I'll just pop this up so you know where to look on the app. So if you were to go on Modern Soap Making's Instagram page, these little icons across the bottom here, this one, wow, it's hard to look backwards. This one right here that looks like a little TV is IGTV. It's kind of like having a YouTube channel, but it's on Instagram. These are limited in length to, I believe, 15 minutes, but it could be 10 minutes. So if you're planning on repurposing your content, you have to think about that, whether or not you can break it into chunks or what's going on. This, the Christmas in July series, is repurposed content. Those were done on Instagram Live, and then I cut them apart and edited them down into individual episodes. Okay. Marlena says, is there a suggested frequency of doing videos? Is it possible to overdo it or do it seldom? It really depends on your target market. So for us, you guys, ask for live content way more frequently than I can physically do, or even what's feasible for our schedule and our content and what we do, and also my life. Like I have 4 kids, I have chickens, I have cows, I have dogs, I have cats. Like I have a huge 1 acre worth of garden. Like I have so much on my plate. I used to homeschool that doing more video content wasn't really feasible for me. So people really liked when I would do it more often. We tried to schedule it in more now that we have more of a stable life. We're not living in our tiny house traveling around anymore. I don't have to worry about my husband's video, what he's doing like for work because he's not working anymore. So I have more flexibility and control. So it's about what works for you and then what works for your audience. I'm sure if I was on video every day, there would still be people watching. Some people would probably get over it real quick or only watch sometimes or be like, gosh, she's always live, so it's not that special to catch them. But if your content is always engaging and valuable, people will make the time for it. Do you see what I'm saying? So it really depends on what you're covering, what kind of content you're doing, what people want, and what you're doing, okay? And then for YouTube, like I used to do, my golden rule used to be 5 minutes or less. Like I hate the long half an hour YouTube soap making videos where they talk the whole time and nothing is edited or sped up. Like I hated watching those. But there are people who do like watching them. Have you guys ever heard of Nancy Today? I'm showing my age in the soap making world here. But Nancy Today is a soap maker on YouTube who has been around since YouTube started. And she's this older woman who puts around her house just filming. It seems like she just films everything she does. And she films like herself making soap and stuff. And she was wildly popular. And she has quite the audience who loves her content. But most of us are going to be like, I don't want to stalk an old woman around her house all day. Like, I'm not interested in doing that. So it's really about finding your audience and what they like and what they want to watch. I created soap making videos for people who wanted the 5-minute quick hits. Show me like how the swirl goes and how to mix stuff and how to get in the mold without all the talking and the stick blender noises. But that doesn't mean that your audience doesn't want an hour-long content. Like I said, when I do these kind of videos, it's usually in between a half an hour and an hour. So it's really about your audience. Okay. And then Louisa says, do you know if doing live content on Instagram or Facebook affects algorithms in a positive way? From my perspective, every time I do a live video of some kind, it seems like our content does better in the platform for a while. Whether that's intentional or supposed to, I don't know. Just like how many people tune in doesn't seem to be like a normal thing if I pre-announce it versus if I just go live, or if I schedule it at a certain time, or if I do it during a certain part of the day, or if I do it on a certain day of the week. I try to schedule based on the analytics of the channel I'm going on. So like, I'll pull up Instagram again. On Instagram, if you have a business account, when you're on your homepage here, you can swipe to the side and it pulls out this little tab, and then you can click on Insights. You guys are about to see my insights. And then you can go to the second tab, that's Activity. And this will tell you the days of the week that people are on that interact with your content. You have to keep in mind whether or not you posted content on those days. So like for me, I only posted on Monday and Tuesday. I haven't posted anything else. So there's no reason for people to have tuned in. But if you've posted every day of the week, they'll give you a good idea whether or not people are on at a certain time. And then in the audience tab right here, if you scroll down to the bottom, it tells you the hours that people are active on certain days of the week that are your followers. So clearly, if this were me, I would want to go through scroll through and kind of just look. And it seems like no matter what day of the week it is, people are always on around noon. Now, based on my audience and knowing my target market, it's probably because they're on lunch break. So they are probably just scrolling real quick and not really wanting to watch an hour-long video. But if you go through, there's also like always spikes towards the evening. So if I'm going to do live content, I try to do it in the evening like this. So you want to look at your analytics and think about when people are on, and then try doing it at different times that you know your people are on, and then compare how that goes. Just like you can announce in advance and then do it, or you can just sporadically pop on, and I've done that multiple times. For me, it is about whether or not I have room in my life to schedule it, or if it's easier for me to just pop it. Right now, we're doing a lot of scheduled content because we already have scheduled content for a class that we're teaching. So I just did the check-in call where we did a live coaching session for those students. And then I was able to go, okay, I'm already set up in my studio. I already put makeup on and did my hair. Okay. So I'm going to post on Facebook Live, or I'm going to get on Instagram Live, or whatever. I'm going to get on and do live content for another hour. The kids are already in bed because they have to go to school tomorrow, so I don't have to worry about them. It just kind of works. So announcing in advance in this case has been what works for us. But in the future, it's not always going to be that way. Just like in the past, it has not always been that way. Oh, come on, Stephanie. Link Nancy today. I'm just kidding. Don't. If we link her, it might be seen as endorsing. And that lady is crazy with her soap making practices. She's adorable, but also crazy. But you guys can go look on YouTube. Nancy today. Search. All right. So that gives you guys some like pointers and starters and things to do. And I think I got all of your questions. I hope. So look at that. 50 minutes. 48 minutes and 42, 3, 4, 5, 46 seconds. So in between a half an hour and an hour. And that's what works for me. That's what happens. That's what we do. It's not something to stress over. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned about doing live content, is to just not stress so much. If it makes you feel better, do Instagram Live and know that it disappears in 24 hours. Heck, you can do Instagram Live and then not even post it in your stories. So it's just the people who were there who see it. And then that's a good way to practice and get over it and to do it and really get in there. But like I said, equipment-wise, you don't need a lot. You just need to have like an idea of what you want to do and then just do it. So this class, for instance, mini class, we set it up, and I said I would talk about anxiety and confidence and the equipment that you need and just give you some tips. Do you guys want to see what I prepped for this? Do you want to see how much like work I did before I was like, okay, let's do this Facebook Live? Yeah? All right, here's my notebook. Here it is. Nothing. I literally just wrote down the bullet points of like things that I wanted to cover to make sure I got everything that I wanted to get out there. And then you saw me randomly glance down and look at it to make sure I got everything that I wanted to. And that's it. Because it's really about being authentic and just talking to your people. And really talking about the things that you know about, the things you're interested in, the things that you want to share, and really connecting with your people. So one of the things that I want you guys to try to do, if you need ideas for content, is I want you to pick your best-selling product. So let's say this is my best-selling product. I want you to make it a goal over the next week to get on Instagram Live and introduce the product. Hey guys, this is Kenna from Modern Soap Making, and today I wanted to share with you my favorite product that we make here at Modern Soap Making, and it's our rosemary mint soap. It looks just like this. It's got these cool swirls in it. It's one of my favorites to make, and it smells so good. It smells like fresh chopped cracked rosemary with a dash of mint, and it's very strong and minty and soothing. And it is so great on your skin. I love using it. Today only, we're going to run a little bit of a deal where if you buy 4, you'll get 1 more for free in a bundle. You can catch that link in our bio, okay? So grab yourself a bar and enjoy it. Your skin will thank you. See how easy that is? Super fast. Super just get on, pick the one product that sells really well that people already love, and just film like a quick little 30-second, here's this product, here's some information about it, here's things that I love, and you should go buy it. Also, don't be afraid to tell people to go do stuff. If you get on Instagram Live or Facebook Live or whatever, and you just go like, here's the soap, I love it, okay, bye guys. They're going to be like, okay, cool, whatever. But if you say, go check it out in the link of our bio, or grab yourself a bar, or, snag it today. You want to like tell people to go do something, because then they're like, oh, I've got to like actually do something. So what did I just tell you guys to do? Y'all have to go make a video about your best-selling product, okay? I am really good at just making stuff up. Fly by the seat of your pants. Okay? So, your homework is to get on Instagram Live or Facebook Live and showcase your best-selling product. You can do it in a minute. You get done real quick. Introduce it, talk about it, and then tell them what to do. Call to action. Go buy it. Go snag it. Turn on do not disturb on your phone if you don't use your phone. That's a big mess up I haven't done in a while. And then tag me in it. Tag at Modern Soap Making. If it's on Instagram, if it's on Facebook, you can shoot it to us in an email, or send it to us in a message, or share it on our wall, or share it in the group. We want to see it, so that way we can go cheer you on. If you tag me before you're going to go live, or send me a DM and I see it, maybe I'll even watch you do live. Okay? And yeah, Stephanie just said in the comments, you guys are all talking about how effortless this looked to you. This is just practice, because as Stephanie can attest, 4 years ago, this would be a freaking nightmare. I was horrible on video 4 years ago. Like, really, actually, hey, Stephanie, the Get Busy Blogging 4 rules to better blogging as a business owner. or beauty business owner or something like that's the title of the article. That article has an outtakes clip video from the first class that I taught online in it. So not only is it video content from like 4 years ago, but it's outtakes from 4 years ago that I used to promote the class. It's really, really bad. So I want you guys to go watch that. If you can do better than that, you'll do fine. All right? I'm waiting to see if Stephanie can find the link. She is like a ninja master with this. She is always like right on top of being like, oh, bam, here's the link. Half the time it's before I even mention the content, where it's like magic, sorcery, mind reading. She's insane. Okay. Naveen says the Instagram settings. On Instagram Live, it is super easy to go live on Instagram. Look, you guys can see the back of the studio. Okay, so at the bottom here, there is a live button. I will use a filter because half the time I don't wear makeup because I'm going live out of nowhere. So you can use filters. People are used to it on Instagram like it's normal. There is one in here that it's called Subtle. And all it does is it like smooths your skin and makes it look like you're wearing makeup when you aren't wearing makeup. That's the one that I use. It looks like that. The purple circle. But I use that filter if I'm going on Instagram Live and I'm not wearing makeup because it makes it look like I wore makeup. And then you just click go live. Here, we'll do it. And it checks your connection and it says you're live. Hi guys. I am doing a video on Facebook Live right now about doing video content all together. And someone had a question about going live on Instagram. So I wanted to show how to do that real quick. I don't have like a ton to say. Hi. Thanks for joining me, guys. So I am not like have a lot to say. I'm doing, look, here, let's do something crazy meta. You can see each other. Wow. That's so crazy, right? So I am doing Facebook Live right now in our Facebook group. And they had a question about Instagram Live, so I just wanted to show them how it was done. That's all. But maybe I will pop on Instagram Live later this week, okay? You guys have a good night, okay? Good night. See ya. All right. So, Instagram Live, when you're all done, how many of those were you guys? 8 viewers. I bet most of them were you guys. When you're all done with an Instagram Live video, this up here, this little download icon, that is your save the video button. So if you want to save it, you want to click that. And then you can share it to your stories, which makes it viewable for 24 hours. Or you can delete the video. So we're going to delete the video because no one wants to see me just be like, hi, I'm using you, right? And that's it. In the comments, I did not save it. In the little area at the bottom, there's a way for you to put up like stickers and stuff like that. But if you just Google like Instagram Live controls, there's tons of blog posts out there that will show you how to use all of that stuff. But it's really that easy. So I faked it and then I did it for real. So if y'all don't tag me in doing it this week, Stephanie, write everyone's name down. I'm just kidding. Okay? So that is all I have for you guys tonight. I hope that you learned something new, that you have gained some confidence and information where you feel like you can use video content to promote your business, especially because it makes such a difference in making connections with your audiences and your customers and really getting to know them. If you're catching this on the replay, thank you so much for watching and tuning in for a whole hour and missing it. hopefully you will catch us next time on live in the future. If you guys have any suggestions for content, things that you would like us to see, things you would like to see in the group, or things for us to cover, or if there's an idea that you have, for instance, this was specifically because Naveen asked for it and a couple other people said, hey, I would love that. So we did it. So if there is something else for you guys that you want to see, you let us know in the comments and we will make it happen. Hopefully, maybe, no promises. All right, guys, I hope you have a good night. And it is Thursday night, so it is Friday Eve, as someone so eloquently pointed out earlier, which means it's almost the weekend. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I will catch you next time, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye.